All right, it is 11:04 a.m. September 9th, 2017. I have you here on updated spaghetti models. I have two pulled up for you, and what I want you to notice right away is that some of these models are starting to, not a lot of them, but some of them are shifting back towards the center of Florida, more east than the west coast. This one also is showing that, especially this green one that seems to ping pong up the center of Florida. Now guys, I was pointing out yesterday that over about a 12-hour period, all the models were on the east side, and then by the end of the day yesterday, they were basically all on the west side. That's because IRMA was still, the eye of the storm was still all in this water here, and what's happened overnight is it has begun to interact with Cuba. It has actually made landfall along the north side of Cuba, and it seems to be riding the coast like that, and what that's done as it has slowed down IRMA to about 12 miles an hour moving west. And at the same time, because of this slowdown, this front wall that we were talking about that is pinning IRMA south and not allowing it to make that northern move yet, which they're actually expecting between the next 6 and 12 hours because it is passing off into the east like we talked about with the jet stream. Now, had IRMA stayed in these waters at about 14 to 15 miles per hour like it was, by the time this part of the wall passed, that made it so it was going to go up the west coast, as I explained last night for the last video. Now, again, because IRMA has slowed down to 12 miles an hour, just 2 miles an hour makes a big difference here. It has stalled out, and now what we're waiting for is this wall front of pressure to pass out into the ocean, and then IRMA is going to make that turn north. Now the question is, because of this slowdown, those models, some of them are starting to shift back towards the middle of Florida. Now, the reason for this, well, actually one of the cause for concern with this is that not only is it making the contact with the northern part of Cuba here, it's actually now entering these super warm waters, and if it does get off the coast and back into the water, we're looking at it strengthening before it would hook up north. Now, I'm sure throughout the day, these models are going to change. Some of them will probably move back to the west because of this stall, but it's very important to watch this stuff, guys, because I'm telling you, once again, the jet stream is running everything right now. I'm going to move forward here. You can see IRMA down here, and we talked about this wall. We have the break in the jet stream. I'll move forward a little more. And you can see it separating here, creating its own front with a wall that came down. That's what originally switched the charts from the east coast to the west coast. From the beginning of yesterday to the end of yesterday, it was all about this wall front. The U that we were talking about didn't stay in form, and it didn't pass over the east coast together. So because this lingered on, like I said, it kept this wall of pressure here, pinning IRMA down, and now what's happening is because of Cuba, it is slowing down the storm, which means it's sitting here longer while this passes. So once it passes, it depends on where IRMA is going to be now. Once again, if it stayed in the water moving 14, 15 miles an hour, it would be more to the west as this part passed over top of it. That's why the models were on the west coast. And now because of this stall, look at that. It shows it a little more going up the center. And something else I want to point out here that has to do with Jose. Now, as I pointed out yesterday also, IRMA moves up west coast to the center part of Florida and then starts interacting with this front pressure. And now watch what happens. It starts forming a part of the jet stream that's trying to replace itself into this U shape. You'll see it starts to form again. But what IRMA does, according to this chart, is it becomes its own pressure front. And then if you notice, here's Jose. If you remember, Jose is projected to move this way and then up. And then I explained it almost does like a little loop here and then wants to come back down in this way. And now the jet stream is showing me at least one reason why that might be possible. At this point now, here's IRMA almost creating its own front. Here's the jet stream reforming up top. And now check out how this front now is almost like a catcher's mitt holding Jose right here. Okay, you see that? It's pretty defined. So now this is the reason why I think the charts are showing Jose moving up here. And the reason it's flowing this way is because IRMA was still a storm here, and as it interacts with land, it becomes a front. And then Jose is bouncing off this pressure. So it shows Jose going up, making a loop, and then coming back this way. So I'll move forward a little bit and show you what it expects in the future, and see how you have this arch here pinning Jose here, just like IRMA was pinned down by the low jet stream earlier. Move forward. I think I have a few more frames. And there you go. You see this front starting to turn. It's turning. Okay, that was the last frame. So this is all we have to work with right now. So if you want to go with the flow of this, this front seems to be turning in a motion like this, and then eventually this part will move out this way, and that might possibly be the reason Jose can hook up in this direction. We don't know yet. It's still a far ways out. But guys, I'm telling you, this is important stuff right here. The jet stream is controlling where IRMA's going, and then in turn, according to this chart, it's going to control whether or not Jose makes that loop back towards the East Coast. Okay, here we go again. Here's that wall being delayed because of the slowdown interaction with the northern part of Cuba. Storm slowing down. Now again, this is some major concern, because whether or not it goes up the center of Florida or the west coast or switches back to the east coast, the concern now is the fact that it is slowing down with these waters still for it to get into. They're expecting it to get, the bands are already hitting the Keys. There are some webcams still up that you can see. Palm trees are blowing in from the ocean. A lot of them are actually shutting down. I was watching one of them and actually stopped as I was looking at it. So I don't know if that's like a pre-prep or if that's actually the wind and weather causing that. But guys, just these slight little changes, 2 miles an hour, has now started changing these spaghetti models, and some of them are shifting a little this way. I remember specifically this green one was on this side. Now this doesn't mean this is a definite, this is not like 100% what's going to happen. You've all seen how many changes happen within 12 hours, so we don't know what's going to happen. All I can do is base this on the data, and we know this is warm water. We know that IRMA is interacting with land and slowing down. 130 mile an hour sustained winds as we speak. But now we're waiting for it to pass over this area, and the eye will once again be in the water by itself, and it could possibly get stronger. And then we have to worry about where this front was going to be and where IRMA is going to hook north. That's going to depend whether it stays on the west, center, or things may even change. It might go back to the east. We just don't know. And notice, guys, this one model, there's always one that's in a weird way. This one brings it more out into the Gulf. So I'm just going by what we're seeing. I had these charts up for you yesterday. I want to show you that this has shifted. This was over here yesterday around 9 p.m. So we have this chart, and then there's another chart that even shows it a little bit farther. So we are expecting this northern swing to happen today. It will happen today. They said at most 12 hours based on how slow IRMA goes. And 12 miles an hour, it's 2 miles an hour slower than it was. So guys, this is what I'm trying to explain. These are all the little factors that determine why these little changes are happening and why so many people in Florida are confused about what side of the state it's going to go on. We'll just check the satellite again real quick. You can see IRMA interacting with the northern part of Cuba. And now by the looks of it, it's going to continue west. The second this pressure lays off the top of IRMA, we're expecting it to make that hook. Now, where's it going to happen? All right, guys, I'm bringing you more updates throughout the day. Here's just an updated chart. Let me zoom in really quick for you. These are just the new updated charts based on this slowdown. If you remember, about 24 hours ago, they expected IRMA to make landfall early Saturday, which has already basically come and gone. So now it's going to be later on because of the slowdown, because of the interaction with land, and everyone's just on edge waiting to see if this storm is going to get stronger again. All right, guys, that's the first update for today. I will keep you posted, and that's all. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.